guys, and welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys a lot for subscribing to my channel. So guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew a 4-piece skirt. So 4-piece skirts are like skirts that, like, if you don't really want to do your regular 6 pieces or 8 pieces skirts, you could do a 4-piece skirt. It's really nice and it's really beautiful. So this is the fabric I'm going to be using, Ankara fabric. So I'm going to be making use of about 3 yards of Ankara fabric and then my lining. So, but before I start, I'm going to be drafting it on a pattern paper, so to make it easier for us to all see, and then before we transfer to the fabric. So if you are new to my channel and you have not subscribed already, I would appreciate if you would subscribe to my channel, Stylish Naija YouTube channel, and then share my video with your friends and hit on that bell on the side to get an update whenever I upload a new video. So I usually have online classes every month, so if you're interested in joining my online classes, you could send me a message on WhatsApp. So you could see the number. My number is scrolling through your screen now. So send me a message on WhatsApp, and then I would give you the details. So this is my pattern paper. So I just open it out. I'm just going to be I'm trying to measure out how much. So my hip measurement is 40. So what I'm going to need, I'm just trying to get at least what I know I'm going to use. That's my measurement for my skirt. So I have about 13 inches. So I'm just going to assume that this part of my paper is on fold. This part is on fold. So I'm going to be making use of this side also. So I have about 13 inches there. So for in making a skirt like this, in order for you to know how to fold your fabric, you use your hip measurement. My hip is 40, so I'll divide into 4. That is 10, and then I'll add about 3 inches, between 3 to 5 inches. So that's why I have 13 inches. So I'm going to be making use of this other side of my pattern paper also. So I'm going to fold my pattern paper now. So I'm just going to assume that this pattern paper, okay, I'm just going to fold it. This part that I'm folding in, I'm going to measure before I fold it in order not to confuse you. So on this other side now, I'm going to measure about 8 inches. I'm just going to fold it in. When we come back, we're going to work with that. So I'm going to fold it in like that. So this is going to be my start line. So I'm just going to open it and fold it in so you see it. So this is my start line. So this other part of the pattern paper that I folded in, I'm going to be making use of it. So I'm just making use of this one piece. So this one piece is going to be my double paper that I'm using. You know, when you are making a skirt, you are going to fold your fabric into 2. So I'm just going to assume this one is my paper already, my fabric already folded into 2. The other one on the other side, I'm not going to be making use of it. So that is why I have a start line here. That is why I have this black line. So I'm going to use it as my start line. The other side is not included. So I'm going to draft my skirt now on this side of my pattern paper. So I already have my lines here. So this is my startup line, and then this is my hip line, and then my knee line. So this other line here is just to give me a guide where my hip line is going to be. So it's usually between 6 and 10 inches. That's from the top line. So you see, this is 6 inches, and then this is 10 inches. So my hip is going to be in this part. So the first thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to measure out my waist measurement, and my waist is actually 34. So when you divide 34, you divide 34 into 4. So I'm just going to place my measurement like this here, and then I'm going to add 2 inches allowance, or 2 or 2.5 inches, because I'm still going to take out 1 inch for my darts. So the next measurement I'm going to add here is my hip measurement. So my hip is 40. So you see where I'm starting, all this is my start line. My hip is 40. When you divide 40 into 4, you have 10. So this is like my 10 inches. And then I'm going to add 2.5 inches. I'm just going to use my pattern curve like this nicely to curve it. So the next thing I'm going to measure, and I'm going to measure out the knee, my knee measurement. So my knee measurement, I'm going to divide it also into 4. So I'm going to reduce about 2 inches from my hip measurement. So I'm using 8 inches. And then I'll add 1 inch allowance. I usually don't like my knee very wide. I'm just going to connect with my straight ruler now. And then the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to measure out my flare. That's for the down part. So this is my full length. So for the down part now, what you are going to do, you are just going to determine how wide you actually want the down part to be. So for this part, I'm just going to make use of 15 inches or 16 inches. So it depends on how wide you want it to be. So you see it. This is it. So I'm just going to connect it straight down here like this now. So like I said, you can determine how wide you want it to be. So I'm just going to connect it straight down like that. Now. So this is it. So, and this is the down part. So we're done with this part of the skirt. So I'm going to open up the other part that I put in. So this is the other part. Remember the part that I folded in. So what I'm just going to do, I'm going to come to this point. I'm going to measure 1 inch from this point. That's from the waistline point. This is 1 inch. And that 1 inch is just going to run up to the knee point. So this is where like the emphasis is. Before I will now create out the 4 piece on this other side. So I'm going to use a straight ruler like this. I'll connect them together like this. So I'll add my dart to my skirt. I'll add it to this part. So because this whole part, I'm going to be cutting out this part. So the next thing I'm going to do now for this and other part, here's where I'm going to create out the other part of my flare. So you're going to determine how wide you want it to be. So you can decide to repeat the 16 inches that you did on this side or on this side, or you can decide to reduce it. So that depends on you, how wide you want your skirt to be. So for this other part, I'm going to make use of about 12 inches, between 12 and 13 inches. I'm going to make use of 12 and 13 inches. But if you don't want a full skirt, you can, this part that I made 16, you can make this part 10 inches and then this part 10 inches. It will still be perfect. So from this point, I'm just going to connect it from here to here. So it's really as simple, and I'm just going to connect it like this. So I will see the way I'm placing my ruler. I'm just going to connect it like this. So that is really simple. And then this point, I'm just going to blend this point because it's not meant to be sharp. So I'm just going to blend this point. So the next thing I'm going to do, so we're done with our skirt. I'm just going to cut out all this part and then cut out this part. And then we use this to cut out 4 pieces that we're going to use on our fabric. So I'm going to blend it. So now I'm going to cut out the shape of my skirt. So you see the shape of my skirt. So this is 1 piece of my skirt now, and I'm going to cut out 4 pieces of this. So that is what will make up my 4-piece skirt. So by the time I join another one to this side, you'll find out that my skirt is going to be full. The down part is going to be really full. So here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to add my dart before I continue. So in adding my dart, I'm just going to use 4 inches. So this is my start line. I'm just going to mark my 4 inches like this, and then I'll mark to my 6 inches to the line before my hip line, and then I'm going to connect it with a straight ruler like this. And then from this point now, I'm going to measure, like you could do half inch, you could do 1 inch, so it depends on which works for you. So we're going to transfer to our fabric now. So this is what we're going to use to cut out we're going to cut out 4 pieces. So the back piece, we're going to add allowance to it. So I folded my fabric into 2. So like I said, I'm going to cut out 4 pieces of this. So I'm supposed to place it like this, but I'm just trying to maximize my fabric. So I'm just turning it like this. So I'm just trying to get it out. So I'm going to cut out the front piece first, then before I cut out the back piece. So you are just going to place it, and then you cut out the front piece 2 pieces, and then you cut out the back piece 2 pieces also. So you adding your zipper allowance to this part on this back pattern. So I'm going to cut it out now. So I think the width is okay. So at the end of the day, what I have, the full width that I have for one part is 20 inches. So plus another 20, so that's like 40 inches. So that will be a very big skirt, very full at the down. Okay, so I finished and cutting the front piece. So this here is how it's going to look like. So when you open it up like this, so you see you join at the center, and then this is your 2 piece. So I'm going to cut out the second 2 piece, which will now make everything our 4 piece. So in cutting out the back piece, the only thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add a zipper allowance to this side, because you know that's where our zipper is going to be. So I'm just going to fold my remaining fabric. Okay, so for the back piece, you are just going to add a zipper allowance to this part. So it depends on how many inches you are using for your zipper allowance. That is just what you are going to add. You are just going to add your zipper allowance up to this point like this. So you add it and then add it to the down. So I want the back of my skirt to be longer. So I'm just going to add an extra inches to it, just like to add tail to it. So I'm going to cut it out now. So I'm going to put my notch here, and then you put at the nail point also. So here is what we're going to have. So this is the back piece. So you see how full it is, like I said. So I'm going to open. So by the time you stitch it together, so the down, you see the skirt is really very full. So you see the shape of the skirt is already out. So I'm going to cut out my lining now. I'm going to place it and then cut it exactly. I'll cut out 4 pieces of the lining also. So, and then I'll show you how we're going to start stitching on the machine. So see you on the machine. So you could see this is the front piece, this is the side. So we're going to be joining from the center. So we're going to join this 2 piece. I'm going to join it at the center, and then the back piece also. This is the back piece. I'm going to join it also like this. at the center, so from the center like this. So I'm going to join it like this also from the center. I'll join this one. I've explained that before. This one I'll join it from the center like this, not the side. So you take note. And then the lining also. Here is the lining. I'm going to join from the center. So I'm just going to join all of them like that, the back and the front. I'll join them separate. So after joining them, I will now go and take out my measurement. That is, I will now shape out my skirt. I'll take out the hip and all those patterns. I'll come back and show you. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so guys, so you see I finished joining them. I did the same thing to the lining. So this is the back piece. So I added a tail to the back. So like I said, so this is the back piece and then this is the front. So the next thing I'm going to do now, so you just join at the center. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to insert my dart lines to it. So yeah, I'm just going to take it like this. And then I'll measure out my dart and then I'll sew my dart. So after stitching my dart on it, I'm going to measure out my full body measurement. What I mean by my full body measurements, I'll measure the waist, I'll measure the hip, and then measure the knee. Then I'll join it on the side. So I'll join the back and the front together. And then I'll do the same thing to the lining. And then before I will turn. So that's just it. Because I'm doing an inseam. So I will join the front and the back together. And then I will join it. So I'm just going to do that now. So I'll see you once I join the side together. So once I finish joining these two together. Okay guys, so you could see, so I finished joining everything together. So the next thing that I'm going to be doing now, I'm going to, so this is the lining and then this is the fabric. So I'm going to join both of them together round, and then I'll finish up the waistline with a band, and then I'll come back and show you on the mannequin, so you know how to sew a 4-piece skirt. So if you find this video helpful, I would appreciate for you to give it a thumbs up and then share it with your friends. So thank you so much guys. Compliments of the season to you guys again once more. So see you later.